Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, The War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman with Juan Gonzalez. Juan, you just wrote a piece in the New York Daily News that looks at how the New York State Senate has rejected a bill that would have provided tuition assistance to undocumented immigrant college students. Last night, students protested the vote here in New York City. Some of them were upset at Democratic Senator Jeff Kline of the Bronx for bringing the bill to a vote before he had the necessary support.
Say, Kline, how dare you do this to us? We waited 3 years. It's been enough. Undocumented youth is here and they're ready to tell you we want the New York Dream Act.
I'm naturally from California, but in New York, and this is a U.S., this is a whole from coast to coast movement, and this shouldn't just be based on like little areas. It should just be like the bigger cities slowly going into other areas where the Dreamers aren't as represented.
That was Jocelyn Ramirez and Ambrosia Guadalupe. Juan, what's happening here?
Well, there was a vote that occurred earlier this week. Actually, the DREAM Act, which would provide basically tuition assistance by the state to undocumented immigrant college students in the country, would affect about 8,000 currently. And the vote actually passed 30 to 29, but the rules of the New York State Senate, and this was in the Senate, require that you have to have 32 votes, a majority of the 63 sitting senators. And when they called the vote for the bill, they were well aware that the lone Republican who had said he would support the legislation had left Albany later in the morning, and this vote was held suddenly in the afternoon. So it was held knowing that there would not be the votes there, and that it was a sort of an agreement between this Jeff Kline, who shares power. There's a rump group or a breakaway group of Democrats that share power with Republicans in the state Senate, along with the Republicans. And the governor, unfortunately, Governor Cuomo, the Democrat, was pretty complicit in the entire thing, because the governor has not made any effort to get this bill passed. He made enormous efforts around the Marriage Equality Act. He made a big push around gun control. He recently has spoken out strongly around charter schools. These are the issues that he's made a priority, but he's said nothing about the DREAM Act, except that if the Senate and the Assembly pass it, he will sign it. So he hasn't used any of his own capital to press the bill.
So what happens to these students? Well,
right now, unless there's New York State has to have a budget deal by April 1, and there's still a potential to put the legislation back in a compromised budget deal between the two houses, but the governor will have to exercise his power to do that, and that's why there's these protests mounting. There's a huge conference this weekend of thousands of Latino leaders from across the state where the governor is supposed to speak, and so there's going to be a lot of heat on the governor over the next few days to actually do something about the DREAM Act, not just talk about the need for immigration reform.
Well, we will certainly continue to cover that, but we're going to turn right now to Atlanta, Georgia.